Hello everybody and welcome back to Gaming on Caffeine. My name is Isaac and we are back playing some FTB Infinity for episode 15, and today we're going to take a quick step back from Thermcraft for the time being, and what I want to work on today is getting us an unlimited source of lava. And the reason that I want to do that is because we can use lava for so much stuff. We can use it for obsidian, it's used in making quite a lot of recipes, and most importantly, it's used for quite a lot of pretty awesome power generation sources. So, the first thing I'm going to do has almost nothing to do with that entirely, and that is some dark glass that we're going to make for our mob spawner. And to make that, all we're going to need is a little bit of this wool that we have. Look at this, 3 stacks and 46 of wool, which is kind of awesome, especially considering we only have 3 sheep. That is pretty flippin' awesome indeed. And really, dark glass, for those who don't know, oh my gosh, that kind of scared me, that creeper. Dark glass, for those who don't know, is actually fairly easy to make. In order to make it, you need some sand and some glass. This is going to make sandy glass. We're going to go ahead and take a stack of that and quickly smelt it up in our alloy furnace. And basically, dark glass is glass that you can see through, but that keeps the light out. And that's going to be really useful for our mob spawner, because it means we can see what's going on inside here and fix any problems without having to, like, break this open, look at all the mobs and get blown up by a bunch of creepers, which would really not be helpful, and is in fact what happened here, which was not very fun. So, once we've got at least 5 of these, we can get to work. Now, we are going to need quite a few, and my plan is to have darkened glass here and all the way along this side of the Thermcraft wall, so we can kind of see what's going on, and it kind of looks nice as well. I quite like being able to see what's going on in there. The dark glass, in my opinion, looks pretty cool. So, if we were to take some of this and combine it with what are known as curtains from Extra Utilities, those are made with wool, look at this, blackout curtains, we'll take a few of those, and then if we do something like this, we get ourselves 5 dark glass. Nice! And then if we were to go ahead and maybe charge up our drill a little bit, and also grab our jetpack from its charge up, because we've been using this a ton since the end of last episode, and you'll find out why in just a second here. But if we grab this dude and try something like this, and maybe don't get blown up by creepers. Ah, there's a lot of creepers there. Yeah, no, I'm just gonna try. Just stay out of range. Come on. There we go, and there we go. Whew, okay, so you can see it's still pitch black in there, but we can see what's going on, which is kind of awesome. That is terrifying. The way that creeper moved through the wall there is absolutely terrifying. Let's just hope that that doesn't... There we go. Whew, alright. So basically the idea is, I think you kind of get the idea, we're going to make a butt ton of this stuff, and we're going to kind of fill all of the walls up with it. Let's grab just a couple more, like so. These blackout curtains are actually pretty expensive, and by the way, do the exact same thing. Blackout curtains on their own, if I was to sort of just hang them like this, and I think we can hang them like here. Yeah, if I was to hang them like this, and you gotta be really careful with where you place them, they kind of do the exact same thing. You can walk through them, which is kind of cool, and if I kind of just build this up, I'll show you if you can get it. A bit finicky as to where they need to be placed. Come on, there we go. You can walk through them, and they basically block light out, which is kind of cool if you want to be able to walk into somewhere that is pretty dark. That is not the case for the mob room. We do not want to be able to walk in there. We don't want mobs to be able to walk out, so that is definitely not something we want, but I'm going to go ahead and fill this whole wall up with dark glass, and I'll be back in a second. And a little while later, we end up with something that looks like this, which, if you ask me, is pretty nice. And if we walk around here, you'll see that I've done this wall as well, which again, looks kind of cool. And we can also see at this point that this chest is absolutely full to bursting, and therefore is not killing any of the mobs, which is not something that we really want to be happening. So, little trick is we can go ahead and make what is known as an upgrade to, let's see if I can type that right, upgrade, there we go. The keyboard's behind the microphone, so I cannot see a word of what is on the keyboard there, which is why I'll occasionally mistype stuff. But anyway, what we need to do is grab one of these, an iron to gold chest upgrade from the iron chest mod, which is actually really easy to make. We'll go ahead and grab one of those, and then if you just right click this thing onto any iron chest, it turns into a gold chest, which gives it some more space. So all of these guys are gonna die any second now. As soon as this thing runs down to 0, goodbye. There we go. Look at them falling down. Look how many ender pearls we've got. My gosh, we have a ton of ender pearls. And by the way, for those who don't know what this is just to organize your chest in different ways. I usually click this bottom one, and it just kind of organizes them and clusters all the different items together, which is kind of cool. So, onto the main matter of the day. We are going to get ourselves lava. How are we going to do that? We're going to pump it in from the nether, of course. How else would we do it? And the way we're going to do that is using an Ender-Thermic pump. This little guy, I think it's Ender-Thermic. This guy here from Extra Utilities, and this is made using a diamond, an iron pickaxe, a bucket of water, a bucket of lava, an eye of ender, which is a blaze powder, and an ender pearl, and 4 ender-infused obsidian, which is obsidian and ender pearls. I don't quite think we have enough obsidian already for we have 2. We can go grab 2 more with our terrain smasher, and then of course ender pearls we are now covered for because we have a ton of them. But if we go ahead and do something like this, I think we almost have everything. I went ahead and got a bucket of lava before the episode started. Eye of Ender is really easy because we grabbed that extra cinder pearl when we went to the desert last, so we can do that. And then something like this once we grab some ender pearls from our mob chest. Thank you very much. We'll throw those in there. There we go. You can go in there. Diamonds we have. Iron pickaxes we can make fairly easily if we make some sticks, which seems to be something that we're always missing, which is a bit of a pain, but that's fine. We can throw you in there. We can grab that, throw you in there. And now I'm going to grab the terrain smasher, go grab some more obsidian, and I'll be back if I don't keep pressing the hashtag in a second. And once we've got those extra 2 obsidian, we can go ahead and make ourselves the ender-infused obsidian, and then we can go ahead and make ourselves an Ender-Thermic pump, like so. Now we've got ourselves an Ender-Thermic pump. That's kind of the easy bit out of the way. We can go ahead, we can throw this thing down in the nether, and we can start pumping up lava and collecting it in any kind of container we want. The hard part is getting it back to the overworld. And the way that we're going to do that is using ender tanks. These things, again, require some ender pearls, but the downside, the thing that we don't have, that we need in order to make 2 ender tanks, obviously we need 1 in the overworld, we also need 1 in the nether to collect the lava, and we don't have the blaze rods. We're missing the blaze rods to make these, and also for those who don't know, basically, these work pretty similar to ender chests, but with fluids. You can stick 1 down in one place, 1 down in another, and they'll both contain the same liquid. So if we fill one up in the nether with lava, the one that we have in the overworld will also fill up with lava. And the cool thing is that the Ender-Thermic pump will automatically chunk load the chunk that it's in, so therefore we don't have to do that, and the Ender-Thermic, the ender tank that's in the nether will automatically be always chunk loaded, which is kind of cool. So let's try and get some sleep. Hopefully the mobs aren't too close, they're not, which is nice. And the way we're going to do this is we're going to get some blaze rods, obviously. But we're not going to kill blazers for them. Instead, my plan is to get blazers to start spawning in this room over here. And the way that I'm going to do that is by bringing a blaze spawner to us. So, if we go ahead and make something called a diamond dolly, I'm just going to type in dolly because there's only 2 of them. There's a standard dolly, which we made earlier in the series, I believe. We did, which can move chests, barrels, stuff like that. The diamond dolly is a bit more expensive. Actually, it's quite a bit more expensive. But this thing can move mob spawners. So, what I've gone ahead and done between episodes, which is why I use my jetpack so much, and what I'm going to do real quick is actually fill up my diamond drill here real quick. Thank you. What I've done is I've gone to the nether and I've been flying around for probably about an hour looking for the closest blaze spawner. Now, unfortunately, there wasn't one that was super close, but fortunately, I did find one. So, let's pop on through here. And what we should be able to do is just pick up the blaze spawner using the diamond dolly and put it into the room with the rest of the mobs, and that should work just fine. So, you'll see there is a waypoint all the way over there. It's 500 meters away, which is about 500 blocks. Kind of far away, but with the jetpack, not too bad. It's also over a couple of lava lakes. You don't want to... if you're going to do this as well, I'll show you the coordinates of the blaze spawner when we get there, but I wouldn't recommend keeping your jetpack on all the way through. It is a pretty long ride, so you're probably going to need all the fuel in that thing you can get, and you're going to want to do most of it on foot. But anyway, I'm going to make my way over there, guys, and I'll be back in a second. Okay, so here's where it is. It's right round this corner. I'm going to be quick because I do not want any blazes to spawn, so we're just going to run, and grab it. Nice. Okay, so we managed to collect ourselves a blaze spawner. This thing does make you move slower. It gives you slowness too, and mining fatigue, so it is going to be a bit harder getting back, which is why I recommended not using up all of your jetpack getting here. But now I'm going to make my way back to the base, guys, and I will see you when we get there. And once we made it back to the house, really slowly because this diamond dolly is slowing us down so much, we can go ahead and I'm going to throw the jetpack back into the generator because, oh, not what I want to do. You don't want to do that because this dolly does have a certain number of uses, so I did just kind of waste one there, but that's fine. I don't think we're going to need all that many, and we are going to need that jetpack in just a second when we go back to the nether. For now, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to turn these off. And kind of hope that the grinder just does what it does. Come on, kill these spiders. I don't want to have to die when I get in there. And then we're just going to kind of walk in and place the blazers down. Which, hopefully, won't kill us. Hopefully, being the key word there. Oh, that's giving us mob essence. I'm not really interested in mob essence. There we go. Alright, here we go. Moment of truth. The cool thing about this glass is as well that you can break it and it doesn't actually break. We're going to stick that down over there, and we're just going to close all that up. Hopefully we don't get any blazers spawning on the roof, although that is certainly a possibility. We can go ahead and turn that on. They should get pushed down just like every other mob, and then when they die, inevitably, we get some blaze rods. Nice! So we now have a nice unlimited way of getting ourselves blaze rods as well, which is always cool because blaze rods are a pain in the backside to get. And now I'm really just hoping that none of them spawn above the ground. I don't think they can because it's kind of just hill above them. So I think they will always spawn in that spawner room, which is kind of nice. So now that we have that, we almost have everything we need to set this up. The final sort of piece of the puzzle here is, first of all, we need this thing to spawn some more blazes, which should happen fairly easily. Now, the only downside to the blaze spawner that the rest of the mob spawner doesn't have to deal with, I guess, or the problem that we don't have with the rest of the mob spawner, is that the blazes have to be, we have to be close to the blaze spawner in order for it to spawn blazes. So, unlike the Cursed Earth, where we can be anywhere on the map and it will still spawn blazes, not blazes, it will still spawn mobs, the blaze spawner we have to be within the blaze spawner's radius in order for it to work. And apparently, we're not getting that many blaze rods, so I might have to leave that for a while until we get the number that we need, which is actually 8. But before then, we need a way to power this Ender-Thermic pump whilst it's in the nether. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab ourselves a lava generator. Now, we could use a magmatic dynamo. There are actually a couple of things we could use to power this thing that run on lava. We're going to use the lava generator because it's kind of easy to make. It's just a block of iron as well as a furnace and some redstone, and we get a lava generator. Nice. So what I'm going to do is, first of all, I'm going to make a tank to store this mob essence in, because I really don't need it right now. Let's have a look. Tank. I believe we can make a really cheap one from Buildcraft. Thank you very much. And what we'll do is we'll just throw this down over here somewhere, like so, and we can start to fill this up with buckets. This thing can hold up to 8 buckets of anything, which is kind of cool. Hopefully this one gives us a blaze rod. Would be very nice. Hey, it did. Nice. Okay. So that gets us that. And basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and grab some lava. We're going to take it with us to the nether. We're going to set up the Ender-Thermic pump. And I'll be back in a second before we go to the nether to hopefully make the ender tanks if we have enough blaze rods. I'll wait till we got enough. And I'll be back in a second. And once we have ourselves 8 blaze rods, we should now be able to go ahead and make ourselves the ender tanks. So let's go ahead and type in Ender Tank and see if we have what it takes. So we need more obsidian, so I'll be back in a second. And once we have the obsidian, we should, again, now be able to make this thing. So let's go ahead and make 2 cauldrons. Let's grab some more iron. Thank you very much. We can go ahead and do something like this. Grab you, and then combine all of that stuff up together and get ourselves 1 and a 2 ender tanks. Nice. I'm going to go ahead and throw one of these down over, like, here for now. I guess you can sit there. Doesn't really matter where I put this thing. I can pick it up and put it down at will. It's not going to lose any lava because the lava is being stored in both tanks at once, which is pretty freaking awesome. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab our jetpack. We're going to head back to the nether, and we're going to do that in just a second after we grab ourselves some fluid conduits from Ender.io, because these are going to allow us to pump the lava out of the pump and into both the ender tank and the lava generator, so we can make both of these work at once. And in order to make this really easy stuff, we need some more conduit binder, which we have, and we also need some specific glass, which I'm not quite sure if we can make without putting it through the alloy smelter. Can I do this? I have no idea if this works. The answer is no, it doesn't work. We have to grab some sand. That's fine. We can take you. And all we got to do is just throw some sand into the alloy smelter. Make sure it is on the all smelting or alloy only mode, then it will go ahead and make you some quite clear glass. And once we have some quite clear glass, we can go ahead and make some fluid conduits. These things are like exactly the same as the power conduits, but they're just used for fluids, so you can transfer liquids and gases around if you happen to have any gases. I don't think we do in this mod pack, but I might be wrong. Anyway, let's go ahead and do something like this with some of that conduit binder. And we get ourselves 8 food conduits. Nice. So, let's head on down into the nether with our jetpack on, because we are going to be hovering over that massive pool of lava that is right next to the nether portal. The one that we spent time blocking up the back of the nether portal so we wouldn't fall through it. And if you haven't seen any of the previous episodes, you're about to see what I'm talking about. Okay. Oh my goodness. Where the heck did you come from? Did you see that? We just saw fly in and just rapid succession hits from a flipping zombie. Where the heck did you come from? Oh my gosh, I'm getting scared now of the death. Get out of here. Should we push him into the pit of lava if we can? We can't, but that's fine. Alright, this is the pit that I'm talking about, and that's why we bought the jetpack. Look at this thing. This is the lava we're going to be pulling from. Not quite infinite, but if you look at the minimap, it's pretty freaking massive. So, what we're going to do is we're going to place this down above the lava. Oh my gosh, it sounds horrible. We're going to place it down the pump right about there. We're going to put you down, I think. I'm hoping this thing just transfers power automatically into the Ender-Thermic pump. Not 100% sure if it will. What's going to happen then is we're going to pull the lava out of the pump. Some of it's going to go back into the lava generator to keep this thing going. And the rest is going to go into this Ender-Thermic tank. And I think that's set to right. You can right-click it to make sure it's an input or an output. I think orange is input. So, let's go ahead and throw some lava in here and see if this works. It does. Look at that. This thing is already filled up with lava. We put one bucket in and it just generated the other 3. This thing is also full of lava. Look at that. We are done. And basically, what this is going to do is it's going to go through, and the Ender-Thermic pump specifically will go through and replace every block of lava that it picks up with stone. And basically what that allows us to do is decrease the amount of lag on the single player world, because if you were to just remove it and not replace it, it would create like the falling liquid effect. And when you do that on a big scale like with this, you can see I think it's starting over there. It's putting down stone. Not quite sure why it started over there, but it's putting it down there. If you don't, it causes more lag if it doesn't replace it with stone. So the Ender-Thermic pump is a bit less laggy than the normal pump from Buildcraft, for those who are wondering. But that's working. If we were to head back over to the overworld and look in our ender tank over there, that's the little blockade, by the way, that I was talking about to stop us falling into this pit of lava whenever we try to go home. We should have an ender tank filled with lava back at the base so we can pull from whenever we want, which is absolutely fantastic because it means we don't have to worry about running over to that little pool of lava that's almost out, actually, ever again, which is kind of nice. So, let's close you up. Let's take a quick peek. And voila, look at that. Every time we can just pull some lava out, we can put it where we want, it fills up with some more, and it is absolutely fantastic. And I think with that, guys, I'm going to end the episode there. Thanks for watching. If you did enjoy the video, be sure to hit like, and I will see you next time.